Sukuna has cooked another victim, and this time it's none other than the best Oni-chan Choso.
For the love of God! Please!
Despite beating all the red flags so far, such as losing to Kenjaku and joining the Donut Club, death has finally caught up to him, as no one is able to escape Sukuna's new ultimate technique, which is a literal nuke. This happens right in front of Yuji's eyes, giving him even more trauma. But with one brother gone, another has arrived. After 3 long years, Todo has returned with Boogie Woogie. However, with Uraume declaring their victory, defeat is imminent for Sukuna. As we all know, striking that pose is a curse, no matter how much Gege glazes you. Which brings us to the moment we were waiting for. Sukuna uses Kamino to blast up the entire area rather than using a fire arrow. It's an inferno of hell, burning everything into ashes. The king could unlock it by only going through the cooking techniques of both dismantle and cleave. This occurred previously in the Shibuya incident. He could only use the fire arrow once he had ravaged the entire area with his slashes. However, the fire has a slower speed and a limited effective range. Hence, in order to burn down everything at once, despite those limitations, Sukuna, being the binding vow merchant, placed another one on himself. The fire would not be able to target more than one person, which resulted in a blast that covered the entire range of Malevolent Shrine. He also established that only living beings would be allowed inside the domain, which strengthened the output of the attack and sealed it shut. Now, I know whilst reading this, everything was going in one ear and out the other, but the anime bullshit science behind this is exactly like a thermobaric bomb in the real world. This resulted in every particle burning with the firepower to end all life in the blink of an eye. It's a callback to Sukuna's statement to Jogo that he should have burned everything he desired to cinders without even thinking. But why did Sukuna not use this technique against Satoru freaking Gojo? Well, Gojo put up a better fight than we thought. Sukuna had to continuously adjust the parameters of his domain, with binding vows to alter its effective range. Hence, he could not unleash it. But seeing how this ultimate attack is hell on earth, it makes sense of Sukuna's hand sign, which represents Enma 10, the king of hell. That being said, there's no doubt that Sukuna has placed too many binding vows upon himself. Most importantly for the world cutting slash, tanking Jacob's ladder, and regaining the last form of his domain expansion. Even though the cost of self-imposed vows is lower than binding vows with others, everything is snowballing to catch up to him. In fact, it's already happening, as chapter 259 reveals that Sukuna is now in a state where it's difficult to use his curse technique. However, to get to this point, many had to sacrifice themselves, as Choso chose to protect Yuji.
He was special.
In the 1 month time skip, Choso was trying to teach Yuji blood manipulation, but he kept failing until Naruto Shikamo took over and easily did it.
Emotional damage!
This upset Choso because he loved his brother to the fullest, but had also promised Yuki that he would not let Yuji feel lonely and would live as a human rather than a curse. In their last conversation, Choso had expressed regret for choosing to live as a cursed spirit. The brothers didn't hate humans or sorcerers, but chose an easy option by joining Mahito's cause, thereby choosing the existence of violence. Hence, when Kechizu and Iso died, Choso had to bear the burden of their deaths because he had led them into this life. This empathy made him willing to die at any moment, just if it helped Yuji's cause, even going on a suicide mission against Kenjaku. The love for his brothers was the reason behind Choso's choices, as Iso and Kechisu would have been rejected by human society due to their appearance. As a result, it would have made it difficult for them to fit in among sorcerers, given the existing bias and discrimination even within their own ranks. I mean, guys, just look at Naoya. The dude is the 6th most popular character in Japan, being Maki in votes, despite being a misogynist hating on women.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
So as you can see, it is easier to live as a curse rather than a human. Instead of facing hardship, they found it easier to choose a path free from judgment. However, Choso had to confront the reality of his choices. He realized that in a way, he had played into Kenjaku's hands, almost killing the only brother who was alive, Yuji. Choso felt deep regret for the lives he took in Shibuya and of his brothers. He believed that if he had chosen to live as a human, things might have turned out different. Thus, he broke down in tears at a bar in chapter 208. He wondered why he left Yuji alone to face all the struggles, as he wanted everyone to stand together. I mean, beyond the love for his brothers, Choso had no other values or morals to guide him. Thus, the only purpose in his life was to protect the bond he had with Yuji, since he failed the others. He embraced the role of an elder brother, even though Yuji had not yet accepted him. This was his way of righting the wrongs he had done, living as a curse. Yuki stated if Choso died there, it would be taking yet another easy route and leaving Yuji alone again. The idea of his brothers being too weak to suffer as humans was completely wrong. All he had to do was believe in them and help in their struggles, just as he sees Yuji trying his best and suffering as a human whilst making the harsher choices. Even though Yuji had killed his own brothers by mistake, he relented in sorrow despite not even knowing the truth yet, because being human means having empathy for others. This is one of the reasons Yuji is blessed by the spark of black. We are told this sincerity is what defines itadori. So no matter how useless Choso might have felt during training, he has to be one of the best portrayals of a big brother in shonen. He could feel the pain of his siblings, so it's natural for him to stand in the way of any pain that came towards them. Hence, it was time for them to have a conversation in the soul world, where Choso had first seen Yuji as his brother. Choso acknowledges the fact that Yuji had learned the reverse curse technique faster than him, and even denied Yuji's attempts at making this development seem like Sukuna's effect. In a heartwarming way, Choso states that a little brother is meant to surpass his big brother.
It's enough to make a grown man cry.
However, Yuji still doesn't want Choso to use this as a reason to leave, but he thinks he must apologize to Yuki, and on top of this, Choso feels like he's leaving Yuji alone yet again. But just like Nanami, he felt that Yuji could handle it from here. The 150 years they had spent sealed together were mere days for Yuji, but it was still the bond of family. Yeah, family will defeat Sukuna, ladies and gentlemen. So when it's time to say goodbye to Choso, Yuji finally calls him Anaki, a callback to a running gag that Choso would want Yuji to call him that. So he might have been born as a cursed spirit, but Choso died as a human. So with everyone dead by Sukuna's new, Yuji looks around himself to find every single ally gone. As far as he could see, it was only the scorched earth. But then Todo returned. The reason his survival was kept a secret from Yuji is resonance.
I'm confused right now.
Well, let me explain. Since Yuji and Sukuna were two souls in a single body for a long period of time, it established a connection between them that can't be broken, even if they're now in different bodies. We were hinted at this in chapter 249, when Sukuna admitted that he felt uneasy about the death of Higuruma and was starting to recognize the ideals of people. Hence, if Yuji knew about Todo and the Sorcerer's complete plan, he could have subconsciously and unknowingly let Sukuna know about it. This is why Todo and Meme came up with a genius plan. Since he could still feel Boogie Woogie's existence, he would expand the range of his technique and replace all sorcerers inside Sukuna's domain with Meme's crows. Bruh, he wasn't lying when he said he has an IQ of 53,000, you know what I'm saying? In fact, even Yuta's domain plan was told to Yuji at the very last minute so that they could actually execute the attack strategy. But this can mean one major thing. If Yuji is truly being kept in the blind, Megami's refusal to answer about Nobara's state makes all the more sense. Todo's comeback after over 150 chapters is the copium Nobara stands like us needed, fam.
Wait, so if this whole soul-sharing thoughts is an actual thing, and they couldn't let Yuji know about Todo being a part of the plan, why didn't Sukuna just know about all of the other plans that Yuji was aware of?
I have no idea!
But something that I might know is that Todo could have Garuda, as Yuki was his sensei after all. This Shikigami was connected to Star Rage, and seeing as though Nanami's ratio was imbued in a tool, what's to say Garuda's tool wasn't able to heal his arm and make him even stronger just like the other sorcerers?
He's got a point.
Anyway, Todo pushes Yuji ahead by stating that the other sorcerers are probably alright, because just like the copium we keep inhaling, Yuji has to believe in this delusion because his resolve to repay all the people in his life was suddenly weakening. If he knew that all his allies had suffered a terrible fate, he would have nothing to fight for, and he'd be in the same state as Megami, who already has given up on fighting back. For this moment, Yuji has to ignore the harsh reality of being a sorcerer, which was told to us right from chapter 2. No sorcerer dies without regrets. However, Yuji chose to believe that there is good in the world until the fight with Mahito and Sukuna's massacre altering his worldview. Looking back holistically, we can say that Principal Yaga's words were very true, because all the sorcerers either die in a horrible way or live a very depressed life with a nihilistic perspective. Like, no wonder Megami was so suicidal and hated the world. It brings back how Nanami stated that being a sorcerer is shitty. This is all the more true for Yuji, who is carrying the curses of so many people in his life, and he has to avenge each and every one of them. With each of their deaths, his soul is being broken apart slowly. However, Todo's remark is what he needed at this moment to go on with his purpose as the cog in the machine. I mean, this is exactly the situation Yuji faced in Shibuya when Todo tells him that looking for meaning or logic in death can at times defile the memories of those we've lost. So, the OG brothers team up again as Sukuna appeared, and it's gonna be an epic showdown like we saw against Hanami. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, Sukuna is finally in a state where using his curse technique is next to impossible. That means we are going to feast on another banger Todo Yuji physical combat fight. Now, to enjoy more peak fiction, why not find out how Kafka became the strongest kaiju in kaiju number 8?